Today, we are diving deep into the prophetic dreams of Genesis, and we're going to be using Milton Spencer Terry's classic analysis as our guide. We're about to discover how these ancient visions weren't just seen as, random nightmares, but as a structured, almost coded divine language. So, let me ask you this. Can a single dream actually change the course of history? It's a pretty big question, right? Well, in the book of Genesis, the answer is a definite, resounding yes. In these stories, dreams are way more than just personal anxieties. They are full-blown apocalyptic revelations that literally shape the destiny of entire nations.
But first, we need to get on the same page. When I say apocalyptic, what does that really mean in this context? Because I promise you, it's probably not what you're thinking.
Yeah, so we're not talking about the end of the world, fire and brimstone, that kind of thing. In Genesis, an apocalyptic dream is really a message from God about the long-term future of peoples and nations. It's all about a grand divine purpose, not about doomsday.
And even before we get to the really big dream sequences, the text is just filled with these kinds of divine oracles. Take this one, for example, given to Rebekah about her sons Jacob and Esau. It completely sets the stage, creating this pattern of divine foreshadowing that we're going to see again and again.
All right, so let's jump into our first major case study, Jacob's famous dream at Bethel. This is where that divine revelation gets up close and incredibly personal.
And the context here is absolutely crucial. Jacob isn't some king sitting in a palace. No, he's a fugitive. He's on the run, totally alone, probably terrified. He lies down to sleep in a place that is just loaded with history for his family. And it's right here, at his lowest, most vulnerable point, that he gets this incredible vision.
So what does he see? Well, he sees this massive stairway, a ladder connecting heaven and earth, with angels constantly moving up and down. And then, at the very top, he sees God himself. This is what you'd call a theophany, a direct vision of God speaking right to him.
Now, the most important thing about Jacob's dream is how direct it is. There is no complicated symbolism here that needs to be deciphered. It is a clear, unambiguous promise. I am with you, I will protect you, and I will bring you back home. This direct line of communication really sets the baseline for everything that's coming next.
Okay, so now let's watch how this divine communication starts to evolve when we get to Jacob's favorite son, Joseph. Because Joseph's dreams? They introduce a brand new and super important element to the puzzle, symbolic repetition. Joseph has these two dreams, and they do not make him popular with his brothers. The first one is very earthly. His sheaf of grain stands up tall, while all his brothers' sheaves bow down to it. The second one, it's celestial. He sees the sun, the moon, and 11 stars all bowing down to him. See the pattern? Totally different symbols, but exactly the same message. One day, you're all going to bow to me.
And this teaches us a really key principle for how to interpret these things: repetition with variation. The story is showing us that God might use totally different symbolic languages to hammer home the certainty of a single future event.
Now, all of this builds and builds until it culminates in the biggest, grandest dream sequence in all of Genesis, Pharaoh's visions in Egypt. And this is where Joseph, now a dream interpreter, reveals the ultimate purpose behind all this repetition. But first, a quick prelude. While he's stuck in prison, Joseph interprets the dreams of Pharaoh's butler and baker. And look at this. Again, we see a pair of symbolic dreams. They use imagery that's totally relevant to each guy's job, wine and bread, to predict completely opposite futures. One dream means life, the other means death. The pattern of paired dreams just keeps on going.
All right, now we get to the main event, Pharaoh himself. He has two deeply disturbing dreams in a single night. And what's amazing is how similar the structure of these two dreams is. In the first dream, 7 fat, healthy cows come up out of the Nile River, followed by 7 ugly, skinny cows that eat the healthy ones. Then in the second dream, he sees 7 full, healthy ears of grain get swallowed up by 7 thin, withered ears. The number 7 is the obvious link, right? And Joseph nails the interpretation. It means 7 years of incredible abundance, followed by 7 years of devastating famine.
So that brings us to the big question. Why the repetition? Why give Pharaoh 2 dreams that basically say the same thing? Well, the text doesn't leave us hanging. It gives us an explicit answer, a clear rule for how to interpret these kinds of apocalyptic visions.
And there it is. This is the key. This is the interpretive rule the entire narrative has been building towards. A double dream means 2 very specific things.
First, the event is absolutely certain. It's established by God. And second, it's going to happen soon. God will shortly bring it to pass.
So you see this clear progression, right? The story has literally taught us how to read these divine messages. We started with a direct, crystal clear promise to Jacob. Then, with Joseph, we learned that different symbols can point to the same outcome. And finally, with Pharaoh, we learned that doubling a dream is God's way of underlining a message in red ink and slapping an urgent stamp on it.
So the big takeaway here is that these dreams in Genesis are anything but random. They are part of this really sophisticated, structured system of revelation. They're painting a picture of a divine plan for nations, for peoples, a plan that gets revealed with more and more clarity and urgency as the story unfolds.
And that kind of leaves us with one final thought. If you step back from all the theology for a second, what does this intricate system of prophecy and interpretation really tell us about our deep, very human desire for meaning? For some kind of assurance that there's a pattern in all the chaos, and maybe, just maybe, for a little glimpse of certainty about what's coming next.